I have a plan.
What sort of plan?
A plan that cannot possibly fail.
Would this brilliant plan involve us climbing out of our trenches and walking very slowly towards the enemy, sir?
How could you possibly know that, Blackadder? It's classified information.
It's the same plan that we used last time, and the 17 times before that.
Who are the 17%? Who are they? Who the hell are the 17%? Anybody in here from 17%? Don't raise your hand, it may be dangerous.
Cathay Gazette takes up the cudgels in the fight to end queuing. While the Ministries of Food, Labour and Transport promise action against queues, there arises a woman champion for the housewife, Mrs. Lovelock of Selhurst, a London vicar's wife and originator of the anti-queue movement now sweeping the country.
Here are the world's food headlines. Grain crops in Australasia crippled by drought. Storms clamp down on the whaling season, reducing supply of fats for margarine. European food-producing lands still suffering from war's aftermath. Ministry of Agriculture tells farmers it may be worse than in war.
So I think I might have been in Washington 17 times in my life. 17 and 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. We had 17 Republicans. Plus me. 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, planning it for 17 years.
And I felt one morning especially that it was quite time that we British housewives did something about it.
It would be true to say, Mrs. Lovelock, that you have inspired women to rise against this hangover of war.
Yes, and I do believe that a nationwide rising of the housewives would end this terrible curse of queuing.
If you're tired of queuing or haven't the time, Miss Estelle Kelway will queue for you.
And in the East, it's the same terrible story. Rice means life to these people. That is why Britain stands down and says, we will take no rice this year, for we are stronger than the people who live in dread of famine.
Now in our history, the odds were absurdly against us, but young and old we stood there, defiant, determined to survive, to recover, and finally to win. The news was desperate, but our spirits were always high.
The crux of the theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind?
Well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing, or? All of these things going on, and you know what I mean by that. The fake news, the culture of the world, all of the bad things going on. The world was dropped. You know what happened? You know what I did? A big paper. I pushed this rock. I brought them all. 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 I brought them all.
services of the BBC and through United Nations Radio.
Hello, all cooler aircraft. I'm going to attack, to attack, to attack, to attack.
Brilliant. Hello, my name's Charles Foxtrot, and welcome to the first episode of Join the Queue, or maybe let's call it the Doombusters Show. Obviously, my name isn't really Charles Foxtrot, and I usually don't wear these stupid shades indoors. All will be revealed later. So, a few weeks ago, I was contacted by a couple of UK patriots who suggested there should be a show about Q from a British perspective. There are several shows in the US who are diving very deeply into the Q operation, and they're all doing a great job. Q is definitely becoming more mainstream. The White House and Trump are clearly sending out Q-based signals. People want to know more. They know deep down there's something going on beyond politics. And probably we in the UK have lagged behind. Certainly if I mention Q to people here, they invariably think, I mean the letter, or the concept of lining up politely. Some may go, QAnon, which is a sure sign they haven't got a clue. We'll start with the basics, but soon get into the juicy stuff. In fact, it's all juicy stuff. So this is a show for the Q curious, those who are new to Q, and for those who have some or a lot of understanding but want to dig deeper. And even for those who want to come on and say why Q is a psyop, we would love to hear your reasoning. Please send us any questions or comments below. One of those who proposed this show is the guy twiddling the knobs behind the scenes. That's Simon. He put in a lot of work and developed some cool tech to help, so big thanks to him. Anyway, we've got two great UK patriots and, dare I say it, Q-tards on board today. Both are seasoned podcasters and both have had me on their shows, so it's great to flip the script on them. So, welcome. How are you doing, guys? This over here is Stephen, aka the Maestro.
No, I'm not. I'm there.
Oh, are you? Well, from my end, it's the other way around. Okay, but you've just revealed yourself. That's Stephen. And then are you on the right then, Stu? You're on my left. Anyway,
you're muted, Stu. You're muted.
Can't hear you, Stu.
I'm here.
So Stu's from Stu's News and Patriots Across the Pond, which is brilliant. Did you enjoy that intro?
I loved it. Yes.
It was great.
Yeah.
That was Simon's music, which was brilliant.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that clock to strike 17 times, but it only went 3.
Yeah, we're not going to sit here and wait for 17 strikes. There was plenty of 17s in that video. I mean, our aim was to sort of highlight British spirit, not necessarily British imperialism, which is, beautifully being dismantled right now. Hopefully that British spirit remains. Let's hope. We don't know. Obviously, if we look at Ireland, there looks like there's a lot of spirit still there. So hopefully it's not all watered down.
Well, I've been out and bought an England flag today, so you don't have to look at my shoes down the hallway there. So
we've just seen them. Well, yeah. I mean, it's great. There's some scaffolding just down the road from where I am, and it's absolutely plastered in Union Jack. So I love seeing that. But so anyway, it's great to have you on. I'd like, if you can, for each of you just to sort of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up presenting the shows that you do. They're brilliant. I think with Stu, you're sort of predominantly Q based, and I think Stephen maybe less so. I'm not so sure. But anyway, I'd just love to hear, how you ended up doing what you're doing, why you've ended up doing what you're doing, and did you think you would be doing this 10 years ago? Because I certainly didn't, and I'm well out of my comfort zone, I can tell you that.
If they'd have told us the Q operation that we'd have been doing this 10 years later, would we still be sitting here doing it now?
Totally.
No, I've done it. The Q operation has steered us as well in certain directions because they knew how long this plan was going to take to unfold, and we have been part of that plan. We weren't, the swamp was reading the Q drops,
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
You've got to hand it to the dark side because they have done a job on us for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So reversing that in 10, 20, 30 years, or however long it's taken, this Q operation behind the scenes, because it didn't start in 2017, did it? In October?
No, absolutely not. And we'll go back into the the decades of planning and how all of this came about and why it came about, and hopefully we can see where it's going in the future, because all of us who follow and understand Q have always been pretty relaxed. We're not the ones who are freaking out left, right, and centre, are we? But that's something else. And how about you, the Maestro?
Well, you just said we understand Q, but that's the point. We don't always understand Q. And I think that's exactly
it's open to interpretation. And there's certainly some drops out there that are sort of telling us that we will only ever really understand 20% of what's going on anyway.
Yeah, or it will be revealed. So understanding Q, if we fully understand Q, then the enemy will fully understand Q as well. So it's cryptic, and it's really created a full blown movement in the last 8 years now, 9 or 10 years.
2017. Yeah, absolutely. What are we now? 26. So it's getting on for 9 years now, isn't it?
Yeah. Time flies when you're having flies, they say.
Yeah. But like Stu said, Q was in planning well before the first drop.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit about me. This is my first show really sort of presenting it anyway, but I knew a bit about Q back in 2019. I started looking into it. I realized that it was something incredibly meaningful and powerful, and the information that I was looking at, I knew would only be coming from something really high level. It was very sophisticated. I also knew once Trump had been in for a few weeks that he was a good guy, and I loved the way he operated, and I could see how his first term was being sabotaged. I also knew, I suppose, that Russia, there was the Operation Mockingbird sort of telling us all kinds of untruths about Russia, but I was also still pretty asleep to everything. And it wasn't until they staged a COVID pandemic that's what woke me up, really. Yeah. And I was I went along with it for a couple of weeks. Really, I was absolutely hook, line, and sinker. And then I did a bit of research, and then very quickly realized, holy cow, we're in a real dystopian nightmare, because actually, really, they are out to get us, and our children's futures are seriously at risk. And I remember when I had enough information, I thought, right, I need to tell my friends and family. I need to say, look, your house is on fire. You need to see what's going on, and there's people out there who are intending to harm you and your children. And,
don't talk rubbish. Don't talk rubbish.
There you go. There you go. So this at that point, I discovered, things like Stockholm syndrome and the dissonance. What's it called? Cognitive dissonance. And it was such a surprise. I just thought friends and family would accept what I was showing them and telling them, and that just drove me mad. And I've got a picture that I'd like to show just coming up here. I don't know if you can see this. I mean, a lot of people have seen this, but there's a guy in a kind of green top there, not saluting. And I don't know if you felt like this, but that's how I felt at that time. And that's how I knew how powerful the enemy were, and the enemy's the deep state, and and their sort of Marxist tactics that they use to brainwash, and how quickly I realized, I suppose, that family and friends, would listen to the BBC over me.
The British Brainwashing Corporation.
The British Brainwashing Corporation, exactly. So, well, I'll come to that picture in a minute, because just going back a bit, actually. So I wrote this book, which was basically a kind of live account of it. I was just so amazed what was going on, and I was writing Substacks about it because that was just cathartic, because it was just blowing my mind really how people were behaving. And then a publisher asked me if I wanted to write a book about it. And just to cut a long story short, a lot of this contains communication I was having with my friends and family, mainly my family, and I've included emails and texts and WhatsApps and everything from close members of the family, because it was like a psychological, a study of psychology in a bizarre time that we were in. And so I said, I'm going to have this book published, and I'm going to publish all of the crap you've been saying to me, because it's just bonkers. It's just utterly bonkers. And so anyway, yes, they said, okay, but don't let people know who you are. So I had to write under a pseudonym. I agreed to that because I wanted to release the book, because I thought it was important. And of course, I've got to, token gesture, just sort of slightly hide my identity. So since then, so going back to that picture with the everyone saluting, what happened to me, and I guess it happened to you, is that over time, people around us were also waking up. So it wasn't just one of us there surrounded by thousands of people saluting. We ended up going on marches, and there was hundreds of us and hundreds of thousands of us, right?
Millions. Yeah. Now, I started to get more and more into Q, and then I started to know that actually, there is a benevolent force out there currently fighting against this and systematically destroying it. And I just want to know if you had the same sort of experience. So I started, going from that guy surrounded by everybody saluting to maybe being in a, I suppose at the time it was Parler and Signal and places like that, but in groups of sort of 300-400, I started sending messages about Q and letting them know that actually, there's something good that's going on, and soon found out that I was the only one. So if we look at the next picture, I found myself being like this. Did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And these people who are all wrong were, I guess, what they would call themselves the truthers. Now, I found this very, very difficult because I guess in America, more people like us were able to find other Q-tards, should we say, in their local vicinity, so that they weren't alone. But I don't know if you felt sort of quite alone as a Q-tard, or you had other people with you. Well, Who was that? Do you know what?
Anyway.
I'm just going to tell you my story.
Yeah, go for it. That's what I want to know.
Okay, because me and Stephen didn't really do that to start with. So I'll just go through it quickly. I'm 55, loud and clear. I'm from Folkestone in England. I think I had my awakening when I was about 13 in the history lesson at school. I had this feeling come over me that this is all bollocks. Right? I did not know why. It just, I felt a bit different. But for another 20 years, I didn't really know anything. I just, we all used to party, go out, and all these sorts of things. Anyway, in the 90s, started hearing about sort of a bit of David Icke stuff and reptilians and the royal family. But it wasn't until after sort of like 9/11 happened, and it wasn't straight after that. It was about a year later that I really started to look into things. It took me about 4 or 5 years really digging into stuff, looking at the Bible and the plan and why they were doing this and what it was all about to get a decent idea of it. And then I was, really, really active on social media, putting information out, getting called a tinfoil hatter, all these sorts of things. But there was about, in my local town, another 10, 20 people that were doing the same, right? But I suppose I was doing it a little bit more than anyone else. It got to about 2014, 2015, and I was getting told off all the time. I was getting asked not to say things if I was coming out to dinner parties. You're not allowed to talk about that. All this, and I just sort of wound it in a little bit until Trump came in, and then Q came in, really. And, as soon as Trump starts going, you are fake news. I thought,
you did it at the same time then, basically. Because I had two distinct sort of waves of difficulties, I suppose, dealing with other people. The first wave was during the COVID thing. And then about 2 or 3 years later, maybe, or a little bit less, having to deal with you're a Q-tard, you're sitting back waiting to be saved, your savior, your prophet, he's not coming to save you. And actually there was a lot of vitriol, really, and a lot of people were sort of almost hounding me because of my weird beliefs in a billionaire that's a good guy and everything. Just to move on, that's why I ended up writing this book, because I was having so many arguments with people and trying to explain, but I knew that they didn't understand Q. They didn't bother reading it, and they didn't really want to listen to my explanations. And you can't explain it in 5 minutes, can you? So and the whole thing with Q is you can't tell the people, you have to show them, right? So I thought, okay, so I'll write it in the most succinct way as possible, and that's what I've done, and that's what this is. But the funny thing is, those people who I had all these arguments with, they haven't even read it anyway. But
if I've got 100 truthing mates, only 10 of those will follow and understand Q. They don't, and even those 9 of those don't look into it as much as I do, put the work in. But so there's so many truthers out there that maybe they're fighting for vaccines, or they're fighting against the chemtrails, or something else against the government system. They don't get Q at all.
No.
Still now.
No. And the thing is, both the truthers and the normies, shall we say, they both have TDS, right? Trump derangement syndrome. And the thing is, the slightest piece of news that comes up with Trump, because obviously Trump's a wrecking ball. He's not a politician. He's going to behave in, it's all about deception. He's going to behave in erratic ways on purpose, and he doesn't have to behave in any way because he's actually fronting up a military operation. And so every time he does something crazy, I get 6 or 7 phone calls. So that I found quite difficult. But the other thing that I noticed, though, that is recently we've just had a big spate of what should we call them? Sleepers, I guess. Like Tucker Carlson, Candice,
Alex Jones,
Megyn Kelly. Well, I think Alex Jones has always been one. But we're going to play a game later on, which is called Goodies or Baddies.
Are they sleepers, though? Or are they playing their part perfectly?
That's why we're going to play good. That's why we're going to play Goodies and Baddies later on. because I've got yeah, it's going to be fun. I've got a little story to tell, which is along those lines. But yeah, so we've had this sort of outpouring, and I think if we look at this picture, which is one of the first few drops in, not that one, it's called Calm. It's in question 2. I'm just talking to the producer. Yeah, just scroll up, please. Completely. So I can't see the bottom of it. Yeah, go on. All the way. That's it. Stop. Okay, brilliant. So this is a very early drop, 2017. It's kind of teaching, the question. There's a question there from one of the anons saying, "Who knows where the bodies are buried?" But basically, they're asking, how do we know what's going on? Because Q's just started there, and Q's talking about expand further, make the connections. MSM is not to be trusted, but when this breaks, when the information comes out, many won't swallow. That's the people around us, and those who are starting to understand Q, are the voice. We're supposed to be here to help, guide. Obviously, future proves past means that we can see stuff that happens that sort of goes back and proves some of these posts. But right at the end, it says, "You are the calm before and during the storm." So that's, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, that was our role. We're in the storm now, right? We've started the storm, but leading up to it, we also had to sort of try and placate people, I suppose. So just bearing in mind that we are the calm before and during the storm, let's have a look at this next picture. Okay, discuss.
Well, there's more to that picture, isn't there?
Yeah.
Is the bottom bit cut off? Right. Does that look like JFK Jr. to you, lying in that bed?
Potentially.
It does to me.
Potentially.
JFK Jr. is being brought back into the spotlight at the moment, especially with his love story and that pilot that looked just like him making a cameo appearance. Nothing Trump does is by chance.
Exactly.
He is a multi-dimensional chess player. He's put that picture there to get a reaction.
Yeah.
And you've got atheists now coming out.
Yep.
Against it, and it's hilarious to see.
You've got whatever mullahs are left in Tehran coming out against it. What do you reckon, Steve?
Well, like Stu says, anything that Trump does has meaning. Even his stupid remarks, there's always a certain message behind it. And this was very controversial because a lot of people they thought it was ridiculous and it was disgusting. But you always have to look what happens before it, what happens after it. We have this Pope Leo thing going on as well. He looks like the Pope. He has the same colors as the Pope, the white robe and the red, so it wasn't him playing Jesus Christ by long shot. Even said he was playing a doctor. And what does doctors do? Doctors heal. And they know, we know that Trump is healing America. He said it many a time. And of course, JFK Jr., like Stu said as well, we've got JFK Jr. has been in the spotlights. Elvis has had his epic film come out. Michael Jackson's got his film coming out. I think that Milani's had a film. Lady Di's in the news. So, are we looking at witness protection here? Are people going to return from the dead, because that's biblical, of course, to heal the world, because there's a lot of shit coming out. There's still a hell of a lot to be disclosed. We've got Disclosure Day on the 12th of June, the film by Steven Spielberg. Or the character
I think that's going to be something completely different to what we're expecting. But I think, so yes, basically I think Trump has a lot of fun, with what he does as well.
We all have a lot of fun.
Well, we do. And we see these things and we love, our reaction is, you know, but people around us are going, oh, what's he doing? He's a madman. You know, he thinks he's Jesus now, and they go completely off the rails. And I suppose that's why we're supposed to be the calm during the storm.
The thing is, Charles, I've put a small image here in the waiting room. You might be able to show this now, if you haven't looked. That one. I mean, the people that are whining and moaning, they haven't looked into Q. That's the whole thing. If you haven't looked into Q, if you haven't looked into the Q movement, you're never going to grasp the magnitude and significance of what is really happening now in the world.
Yeah. See, the thing is, you know, if we're talking about people who say they're awake and they don't understand Q and they just say, oh, it's a psyop, they are not. And the thing is, if Q is teaching us so much about how deep and how wide the deep state are and who the players are and how they're doing it and where they are and blah, 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 blah. So it's, you know, it's a whole series of sort of Socratic questions in a way, you know.
But let's just get this clear, Charles. Q is a psyop. It is a psychological operation, but a psyop doesn't mean it's something bad. This is a good psyop. And it's
yeah. Well, the operation is one massive psyop.
It's
the Q operation is one sting after another.
I've always said the Q operation is a psyop psyoping the psyopers.
Yeah. And they jump straight in. They fall for every single trap, every single one, which is hilarious. I just laugh my head off when I see it happening. But yeah, in that picture, he's basically telling us that the Pope is a deep state install. He's not a good guy. You know, he's not a healer. He doesn't want the world to heal. And Trump's sort of trolling him and the deep state by saying, well, I'm more of a Pope than you are. That's my opinion as to what's going on there.
I think there's multiple messages in that image that you posted, because we've also got the Red Cross here. He's mentioned in the Red Cross, and Red Cross gets mentioned in the queued ups many a time. I'm just looking for.
Even in the second. I will come to this. Even in the second drop.
Those Red Cross deltas are just coming up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Can you put that image back up in big? Now you see the image of the person right above him. It looks like sort of like the devil there with
almost like Baal or whatever. Yeah, but I think it's
that truth post, I believe, got taken down, and it got replaced with another one, and that has been changed to a soldier in the middle now.
Yeah, because the guys either side are a soldier. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, you know, and what's in his left hand? What's that? You know, is that the
light?
An orb, or is one of those orbs? Yeah, creation. Yeah, or the on those maps, the great. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, yes. So it's, you know, it's that kind of thing. Also, it's basically letting us know that this story is going to become a bigger story somewhere down the line. It's going to be revealing the deep state's control over the Catholics, you know, and it's going to use the Pope to try and turn the Catholics against Trump and the MAGA movement. So what Trump does is he puts something out that seems like some kind of mad, you know, I've just woken up in the morning and I feel like doing this. But it's a bit like Iran, you know. Originally with Iran, we thought, okay, well, you know, he's taking out their nuclear capabilities and maybe, you know, stopping the deep state's terrorism network. But now we know it's more about Britain. And it's more about the Straits of Hormuz, and for centuries they've been, you know, there's been extortion there, and they've made hundreds of trillions of dollars, and Trump now owns that. So it's a brilliant takedown of the crown and the British imperial.
I mean, yeah, Iran is just another proxy, isn't it, for the City of London?
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, absolutely. I'll just show this next picture. If you can bring it up. Oh dear, I can't see. I'm in the way, but it's the next one, the one after that, the profits. This is an important drop. I mean, I'm moving ahead, and this is actually one of the latter drops. The drop started in 2017 and ended in 20, and then we had 13 drops suddenly appear in 22, didn't we? And this is one of those. But you know, I think it's making it very clear that Q isn't a prophet. It's nothing about, you know, it's nothing to do with prophecies, you know. And I think that's really important. There's an important message, because Q doesn't work. It's not seeing the future, is it?
Well, you can ask yourself, how did the Q board come into existence? What's the basis of the Q board? Could it be Project Looking Glass, the computer? Is the Q board written by AI? I mean,
well, it's genius. It's genius, whatever it is.
The Intel board might be a journal, a logbook, and it's being now revealed and spoon-fed to the public. I mean, yeah, it's
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you look at Jetson White and the time travel series and Trump's relation to John Trump and all these things, you know, you'd be a fool, wouldn't you, to go, well, I believe this and I believe that, and everything is possible, but time travel doesn't exist, because of what we've seen and the complexity of this operation is amazing, isn't it? I just want to ask you two guys, have you heard of Cicada? I think it's 3301.
I have, but I can't remember what it is. It's go on, tell me.
Basically, and I only learned this, well, I don't know how long ago. It was almost something like the Q drops, and it was put out onto the internet, I believe, in 2012, and it was put out on 4chan. Now, these were sort of like problem-solving things, like the Q drops, that didn't lead anywhere. But there's a lot of people believe that this was a test to see what people would do, see if you had these autists and anons readily available on the internet 5 years previous, to see if, when they put the Q operation out, it would work.
Yeah. No, they had to. It's so meticulous. It's complete and utter genius, as far as I'm concerned. And I think in the future, when we come out the other side, you know, it will be taught in schools. And it is so meticulous. I mean, what I wrote just to describe it, I think, you know, the back of my book, I just say it's 4,966 drops of military intelligence prove a genius sting operation is in play. The globalist deep state criminal network has been trapped, and there's nothing they can do. So enjoy the show, but buckle up, right? They can't get out of it. It's you know, the game is already won, and they're playing out the final moves. But those final moves are going to be pretty scary, right? And we need that scare event as well.
If it might, it's which audience are we going to target here? It might be a good thing to just go back, because we mentioned Q is not didn't start in 2017.
No, that's exactly what I'm doing. Exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to look at Trump's military past. Now, I remember you, Stu, when I was on your show, you were saying, oh, you know, Q is supposedly, you know, less than 10 individuals are fully aware of the entire Q operation, and 3 of those are non-military. And I think you asked me whether I thought Trump was one of the military. And I think I do.
So do I.
I think he's been, well, there he is, you know. People don't know this, but he was, I don't know what, you know, that's some kind of cadet corps, isn't it? But I mean, I think he's probably been trained since then for the role he's playing now. Ace, I mean, you know, him as an individual, it's not all, I mean, if he, God forbid, if he died, you know, the Q operation would still carry on. It's not completely and utterly reliant on one man, but he is absolutely amazing. And I don't know where he gets the energy from, but he's very, very intelligent, and he's been trained for this role. I think there's another picture as well.
Do you think, Charles, that Trump will have to be vindicated before he leaves this movie? He might be taken out at some point, but I mean, I can't imagine that.
Saint Trump.
Well, you know, it says in the Q drops, doesn't it? 4 and 6. Trump is 100% insulated.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And he will have to remain neutral as people begin to be indicted.
Yeah.
Now, so, you know, we can go into all these tangents later on. You're in charge, Charles, obviously. But whether that was the butler was fake or not, I don't think this military plan would allow him to be in a position where a bullet could whiz past his ear. He did Paul speech in 2020, I think, said, "You might not see me for a while. I'm upsetting some really important people." I think Trump left then, because I remember the next day or the day after, I thought, oh, there's Trump again. I thought he said he was going away for a while.
When Biden got inaugurated and he left on Air Force One, I think, or Air Force Two, I'm not sure. He said, "I'll be back in some way or form."
Yeah. No, we knew he was coming back, and the whole inauguration. There's so much more that I've got planned, maybe for future shows. But let's go back to some real basics. I don't know. Have you got that PDF scroll, the Book of Q books, Simon? If not, I'll have to try and share it myself.
In a word, no.
You don't. Right.
Sorry.
Okay. I really want to show this, so bear with me. I'm going to try and get something up, and then I'm going to try and share it with you. And it was what? It was page 25 to 31. So it's down there. So I want to share. Oh, yeah, that's a work, but just give me 2 seconds. How do I get to page? There we go.
How many Trumps do you think there are?
You talk amongst yourselves on that subject. I need to get this up because this is brilliant. Okay.
We're seeing a lot of what makes a good movie, great actors. Now we're seeing Trump come out. Trump's 6'3". I've seen him standing to people that are 5 inches shorter than him, and they're an inch taller than him. Right? This is basic. Just use your eyes stuff. Hang about a minute. What's going on there? Now we know that wasn't or 98% we know that wasn't the real Biden for those 4 years. So you don't think for 1 minute, especially Trump walking through crowds and things like he would never do that if he was the tip of the spear of this operation, unless of course they had full and utter total control, which is another thing we'll get to talk about, no doubt.
Yeah, and we've got the golf Trump as well, eh? He's well obese.
Yeah. I mean, what if the real Trump...
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Huh. Can you see my screen? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Brilliant. So, 2 years before the first Q drop, 2 years before, Trump posts this picture, knowing full well that Pepe the Frog was a key character used on 4chan. And this is a picture of him as the president, adopting the Pepe pose with his obvious hair, right? And then in 2016, he accepts the GOP nomination. And during his speech, he starts doing this pose. Yeah. 2016. And then later on in 2016, Trump then retweets a Twitter account, which was a key 4chan chap called Patriotic Pep. And then the guys on 4chan took notice, started saying, what the fuck is he doing up? Is it him? Oh shit, he did it himself. Holy hell, it's him. It's happening, bros. It's happening. Blah, 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 blah. And then somebody decides to say to him, Mr. Trump, if you actually do lurk here, like this meme, please, and use the word amazing somehow in your next tweet. This will be a wink and a nod to know that we know you're there. 5 hours later. So this was sent 3:35 in the morning. First thing the next morning, there you go. Trump sends that tweet with amazing in. So, you know, when people are saying to us, sorry, let's stop sharing now. When people are saying things like, you know, there's no plan, you know, he's just making things up as he goes along. I mean, Trump was making, he initiated contact with Channel 4chan, right? A bit later on, after drops 1 and 2, you know, people asked him if he could put a letter Q in his next tweet, and he did, and he wrote something with the word acquisition rather than accusation. So so it's without doubt Trump is part of 4chan and Q. You know,
Q plus even.
He's Q plus. Yes.
Misspellings matter.
Yes, misspellings do matter, and I've got some great. A bit later on, if we've got time, I thought I could go through some examples of comms and proofs and deltas and markers and what have you. But so that's that. So what I wanted to go on to next is, so let's look at the first 2 drops. So if we get drop 1 up and we can see it. No, that's 2. Drop 1.
Q didn't start signing his name till drop 21, I think. Or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
60, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah, but so I use QAlerts.app to get all the drops up.
So do I.
But and I love it. And I was what's his name? Toe someone or other. It's got a weird name. The guy who runs it. Toe something like a toe rag or something like that. It's a weird name. But anyway, he gave me permission to put them all in the book, which was lovely. But so this drop number 1, October the 28th, 2017. It says 4:44, but there's some quirk that means actually those times aren't right. Actually, the first drop was, and actually the first drop's within that one, which says Hillary Clinton will be arrested between 7:45 a.m. 8:30 a.m. EST on Monday, the morning of October the 30th, 2017, 3 days later, right?
Yeah, so that wasn't Q that posted that. That was an anon on the board.
Well, that's right. But if you look at, I think it was a representative of Q. I think it was part of the Q team, right? Because the trip code there was then changed about an hour later to include the bit where it says HRC, which is Hillary Rodham Clinton, extradition already in motion, effective yesterday with blah, 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 blah. And it's just talking about, you know, that actually she hasn't been arrested or not quite happened yet or anything like that. But that's that trip code. It is Q's trip code with the second message. So what do you think about that message? Why? Obviously, it didn't happen. I don't think it did happen.
Well, two things. It's the only time that a date is mentioned in the whole Q board, I think. First of all, and we've seen footage of a Clinton from the rear side being arrested and put in a SUV.
That was 2016.
Yeah, that was
earlier.
9/11 Memorial Day.
Yeah,
2016, where she's put in that black van.
Yeah.
And then about 2 hours later, the lookalike came out wearing that blue suit.
So it was
20
before
years younger.
It was before the first Q drop, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but it was before. Yeah. It was before this drop saying, you know, she'd be arrested. Personally,
right.
go on.
Let me say something about this. Yeah, People say, "Oh, you Q-tards, you always predicting stuff." Well, we have predicted stuff, and we've learned not to date fact, right? But they said Q keeps making predictions and don't come true. I think this is the only time, as Stephen said, that something was predicted like that. But I believe, as many do, that what we're actually seeing unfold is these Q drops are working in reverse, right? They told us the end of the story first.
Yeah, it will happen. It will definitely happen. I think it's a red herring. I think it was put out there that it was so out there it attracted enough attention.
It triggers attention, of course. It triggers attention and future-proofs past as well,
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. But I think it was so out there, it was to attract attention. And then later on, this second one with the real trip code refers to Clinton getting arrested. Not that one yet, but anyway, I'll come to that. And it's I also believe that, you know, if you ask people who know a bit about Q, they'll say, "Oh yeah, well, the first one said Hillary Clinton's going to be arrested. It didn't happen, did it?" And I think that that's done on purpose as well. I think the whole point of Q wasn't for anyone and everyone to suddenly read and understand it. That wouldn't have worked. It kind of needed to be. I think it needed to put a lot of people off as well.
But what does Q say? Distractions are necessary and disinformation is real, something like that.
Yeah, because it's all about deception. The whole
taking people
operation
as well. Taking people off the scent, because it wouldn't work if everybody understood this Q board. It wouldn't work if everybody was aware of the Q board.
Absolutely, yeah, totally. Sorry, mate.
You've got to have a group of dedicated, digital soldiers that do the work.
Yeah.
So, like Trump said, he said, "Well, I'll gladly take all the slings and arrows, but we are also taking our slings and arrows as well."
Oh my God, that's the point. That's the point I was trying to make, where I was showing that picture of me saying, or us saying, "Yes, you are all wrong," and that. That position, you know, leads to accusations of being arrogant and rude, which is what I've had a lot, and I just don't know how else to behave. But anyway, so drop 2 came along a couple of hours later, which was suddenly dumping a shitload of deep information. Right? I mean, if you go through it, I mean, you know, I'd never really heard of Mockingbird until Q. But anyway, you know, you read that and then you think, well, what's that? And you look into it and then you realize it's, you know, CIA basically propagandizing its own people, which was against the, what's it called? The Smith-Mundt Act, right?
Yeah.
And slow down. I need to see.
Simon,
slow down, calm down.
I do say to people, look, I know there's 4,966 drops, but if you just go and read the first 100 to 150 drops, you will gain so much knowledge of this whole operation.
These are the real crumbs, These are the real crumbs.
Yeah. So you just look into Mockingbird, and then that gives you so much information. But then it does say HRC detained, not arrested yet. I think that's just sort of making sure that people realize that it is the same guy or person or operation posting it. It's just to sort of tie it in with the 2 that were posted earlier that day. But then it says, where is Huma? Follow Huma. Now, Huma Aberdeen.
Who the hell is Huma?
Huma Aberdeen. Oh my God.
Or is it?
Oh, it is.
Double meanings exist.
No. Huma Aberdeen. If you look at what she was married to Anthony Weiner.
Yeah.
So there you go, straight into the pedo stuff, the pizza stuff. You go straight into to Hillary Clinton's private emails. Blah 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 blah. So if you just look at one aspect of Huma, you get to know all of that. She was Clinton's sort of right-hand man, for want of a better term, through all of her dealings with Saudi Arabia. So you've only got to look into it, and then you find out that Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, did the biggest arms deal ever to Saudi Arabia, knowing full well that half of that will end up with Al Qaeda. Right? She knew that, but also the Clinton Foundation pocketed 25 million. So there's that with Huma Abedin, and now of course she's Mrs. Alex Soros.
Yep.
So
we're led to believe, eh? We are led to believe.
Well, how she would find him of any interest apart from a shitload of money, I suppose. I don't know. But so, I mean, the point I'm making is Q on the very first day went from sort of crazy accusations or points, regarding Clinton, but within hours it goes straight into this. Now, we could go through all of this, but probably don't have enough time. But just to go through quickly, it's just talking about nothing to do with Russia yet. Well, that's basically saying, we'll be giving you a lot of information about the Christopher Steele, Russia. What's it called? Crossfire Hurricane stuff. That's going to come out. Why does POTUS is President of the United States surround himself with generals? Why go around the 3-letter agencies? Because they're all corrupt.
Charles, it's POTUS. It's POTUS.
POTUS. Scottus. What's Melania? Flotus.
Good job.
Anything in there? I mean, like down the bottom here, it says they never believed for a moment Democrats and Republicans would lose control. There, it's telling us there's a uniparty. This is a deep state. It's telling us there that there's the rhinos, and it says this is not a R versus D battle. It's not Republican versus Democrat. This is a good versus bad battle. This is the ultimate battle. Why did Soros donate all his money recently? Here you go. Why would he place all his funds in it says ARC, but as far as I'm concerned, that RC is Red Cross.
Well, I've got a small clip here about the Red Cross. You might
go for it.
Show this one.
I've shared my screen. I can show you a little something as well if you get a chance to put that up.
Yeah.
Because
well, that's your Red Cross for you.
Where's that?
Money laundering.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what all the NGOs are about. All charities are about. All wars are about. But not for much longer. It's all being stopped and exposed. Is that Haiti, by the way?
No idea.
I bet you it is.
All that Fed money. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the Q board is actually shoving the existence of a deep state right in our faces, eh?
It is, and we don't, people don't know how deep the deep state is. It's everywhere. It's absolutely, and it's the CCP. It's the City of London. It's the Venezuelan drug cartels. It's everywhere. It's your neighbor who works in education. It's your neighbor who works for the police force. It's that deep, and that's Q only. If you don't, unless you understand Q, you don't realize that.
It's Freemasons, Jesuits, huh?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's corrupt is pretty much involved because it's a trickle down. In local councils, if you've got corrupt councillors and stuff, you could trace that up to someone, being paid off. You can share my screen just very quickly. I just want to show you something because I always used to use, I don't know if you remember it was called qmap.pub, right? but that got shut down. Now, I just want to say, yeah, Q didn't post start signing until drop 61. But there is, I use this, qalerts.app, but there's also qag.news and also qanon.pub. But qanon.pub is quite interesting because it's got, on every drop, it's got a little answers tab. And it's sort of like, but this is really good for people to learn. And it sort of goes through each drop.
So say again what it is, so people can
QAnon. You've got, this is QAnon.pub. QAnon.pub. And so this is for people that just want to learn themselves and have a quick look through the boards. This is good because a lot of the drops do have this sort of answer section on them, and it sort of explains the drop to you. It's really, really interesting. So I just thought I'd let you know that.
No, that's brilliant. And I tell you what, we have now that the original Anons didn't have, and I consider myself like a second wave Anon because I didn't really get into it until 2019. But I could always look back and analyze things. But of course, we've got AI now, and actually, you can even ask Grok, and Grok's pretty good. I mean, it's still sort of tinged with it being conspiracy theories or what have you. But it's if you want to know essentially what each drop's sort of referring to, it will tell you that. Yeah. I mean, I put it. People think it's really cryptic. I don't think it's that cryptic, really. There's a lot of abbreviations. In my book, I've got a whole list of abbreviations, but it can be a bit daunting when you first look at it. But that's brilliant. I like that.
It's good for people learning. But some of the drops, you can tell they're military comms. None of us are able to understand.
Yeah.
A lot of it is done because it's done by the Socratic method, which is done. It's to they cannot give out government military secrets. They have to do it in a certain way, so we go and look ourselves. People say you're in a cult. How can you be in a cult when you're educating yourself?
So it's legally not wrong, by asking these Socratic questions.
Tells you which rocks to look under. So I've got a question for you. So does Trump just wake up one morning and suddenly decide he's going to bomb Iran?
Okay,
that's what people think.
Does Trump even sleep?
He doesn't, does he? It's amazing, absolutely bonkers. Yeah. But this is something I was going to go into, but I think we could go into this another time. But I've got a couple of sort of pictures in this segment. Maybe you could bring up the endless post, Simon, if you can. Question 3. I mean, this again was in the sort of final batch of 13 posts in 2022. I mean, I don't know what you think, guys, but I mean, those 13 drops, I think they're brilliant. They kind of summarize things. There's a definite different sort of tone to them. I mean, a lot of people think that actually they're not real drops.
Some people don't know if they're real or fake, but we know, or we believe we know, that there's not just one person writing these drops. Or one machine. That is so. Over time, no one writes the same. No one's got exactly the same style.
I take them as genuine anyway. Or coming from the team. And this one I like really because it sort of explains the deep state, doesn't it? If people want to know, why he's doing what he's doing, this is the systematic destruction of the old guard, which is said in many drops, which is basically we have to understand that this is a systematic process, and people just want arrests and they want things to happen immediately, or they don't like certain things that Trump says and does, but it's all systematic. But ultimately, it's to put an end to the endless. Yeah, and he's only been in a year really, because you can't count. Well, the whole issue of devolution and continuity of government we'll do in another show, because that's something else. But let's say his first term was completely sabotaged anyway, and he was just on a fact-finding mission, really, I suppose. And then they let them steal the diamonds, And the thing is, a lot of people who are awake are only awake because of those 4 years of Biden doing what he did. And we're in our 4 years here with Starmer, and you are, Stephen, in Holland, with these tyrants behaving like tyrants and waking everybody up. So so there's a few pictures I've got where it sort of talks where there's drops talking about systematic destruction. Maybe the next picture, which has a Dan Scavino image. Of course, he's one of our main comms guys.
Mm-hmm.
Dan runs the internet.
Yeah,
remember that? Look, I've got an amazing clip I can show you guys. It's about 10 minutes long. I'm not going to show it on here. It's off Devolution Power Hour, John Herald, Burning Bright, and Kyle, Just Human. They've got the transcript, and everyone knows that John Herald wrote Devolution. Well, he didn't write Devolution, but he was, he got that.
It's his theory. It was his theory.
But he got a transcript of an interview with General Keith Kellogg talking about the Socratic method and stuff like that. And Burning Bright and Kyle were going, oh my God, it absolutely blew them away. And that's on our website, patriotsacrossthepond.com, in the teaser videos.
I have to say that your website has probably got the best resource of Q information I've seen.
That's on my Substack, that is. If Elisa's watching, Elisa, I'm not logged into Substack at the moment. If you can put that Substack article in the Rumble chat, that'd be amazing.
Brilliant. So I think, I don't know if there are any questions or any comments, because I think we have got a little section if anybody's got any questions or any comments.
Oh, I like this. Sitting back out the production seat.
Is it going to work? Is there anything there? I can't see that. Not at the moment.
There are a few questions, I think, Charles. At 1923, Core, he asked, good evening. What is your view on what is happening in the UK right now? Everyone in power there these days is Muslim, and the fact that Sausage Fingers Charles gives a speech during Ramadan, but not... But not during Easter is clearly a big middle finger to the British people.
Well, absolutely. This is a deep state. Part of the deep state plan is to flood Europe with sort of illegals like Biden did, to take away the sovereignty and the national identity and create, division and potentially civil war.
It's the Kaleri plan as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And Sausage Fingers is basically the head of the snake, I think.
He's not my king. Look, I don't think Keir Starmer, King Charles, and any of that lot have any power left whatsoever. I think they've been capitulated and they are playing a part. I believe that they might have taken certain characters out and stuff. We saw Trump walk in front of the Queen and inspect Prince Charles's troops at the time in 2018. Trump has retruthed that capitulation tour video 4 times now. Now, for the President of the United States to say King Charles capitulated, the Queen capitulated, China capitulated, Japan, all these things, makes you this is full control, maybe not of everything, but of the chessboard, right?
No, what I believe, I believe white hats are in control,
being directed and steered to do what they want. Because if this we hear is a global sting operation to eradicate criminality and catch them all once and for all, everything's being tracked. All the immigrants coming over, they've got mobile phones, whether they're in Afghanistan in military and they're actually pretending to be immigrants coming over here because they're going to be used for something else by the military alliance or not, we don't know as of yet. But if me and Elisa, my podcasting partner, say all the time, if they are doing everything they can to save the children, Operation Warp Speed with the vaccines to try and save as many people as they can. I don't think there's a lot of things that they're going to allow to just happen like this.
Yeah. Well, I think there is a sort of big scare event necessary that will be allowed to happen probably. But you've only got, I mean, what made me laugh was the Trump's second state visit was just pure capitulation from the royals and the establishment. It was beautiful to watch. It was the biggest procession ever. But at the end, when I don't know if it's the Coldstream Guards band, when they played YMCA, I fell off my chair. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And people don't know what YMCA means, but you guys do. And that's the punchline at the end of my book. But yeah, that's what it is.
But even warp speed has a double meaning as well. Everybody thinks it's about the jibby jabs, Trump's jibby jabs, but warp speed also has a double meaning, and it means military operations, quick trials. Trump mentioned quick trials many a time in his rallies, and the military operations is arrests and tribunals, and that was, in the period that Biden was in the pause,
yeah. Well,
there's a lot happened there. There's a lot.
Warp Speed compressed a 16-year plan into a 4-year window where they just exposed themselves because they couldn't do their 16 years in 4 years.
Very sloppy.
They were forced into it. It was beautiful, and that's how we know so much about what they're up to.
So I mean, that is what's happening here. That is what I believe is happening here. Yeah. Whether it's a devolution period or not, Keir Starmer is our Joe Biden.
I've said that
Keir
since
Starmer
day one.
got in, right? Whether he got in or was elected, selected, or whatever.
Yeah,
he came straight out and he attacked the pensioners and the children. And he joined a coalition firing missiles into Russia, didn't he? And he sent a load of Labour politicians to the United States to canvass the Democrats. That's election interference. He's done so many bad things,
and they're all Fabians, and they sent. I think it was the moment when Mandelson was appointed the U.S. ambassador. That again was a laugh and fall off my stool moment. That's a white hat operation without doubt.
Can I just ask you something about the UK then? Obviously, a lot of us, because Nigel Farage has been over there with Trump. He's interviewed him a few times, been on stage at a few of his rallies. But him and this Rupert Lowe have had this bit of a division. Maybe that division is being created to cause unity at the end again. But Rupert Lowe put out a video, and he's speaking common sense, but he put out a video for the Restore Party, and the O turns into a Q on the 29-second mark, I think.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to the video Elon Musk put out about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I looked into that.
It's
the same font, exactly the same font.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's done by the same person. But I couldn't find a definite proof that Restore or Lowe actually put that video out themselves. Right. So I'm a bit cautious about that one. I mean, I loved it. When I saw that zero, that O turn into a Q, it was like, but obviously Musk is behind him and backing him. But I think we've only got about another 20 minutes or so. I'm going to skip a few things that I was going to go through because obviously we can talk for hours and hours. But I thought we could play a little game, which is goodies or baddies, and and I don't know if you got a Simon. I don't know if you got a jingle set up. No.
Can you hear this?
No. Okay, so we're going to play goodies or baddies, and this is the jingle. Right. Goodies or baddies. So before we play goodies and baddies, if we just get up the first picture of Musk, I just want to go through something. This is a marker. And I don't know if you remember this, but this was coming towards the end of all Musk's work with Doge, exposing all the financial fraud. And you don't know if you noticed, he'd been starting to wear a black hat, and he had a black eye. From our perspective, it's on the left. And that was the moment when Musk suddenly turned on Trump and they had their feud. Musk said he's in the Epstein files. So this obviously wasn't a feud. This was a marker. This was, I mean, I've got
Kayfabe.
Say again?
Kayfabe.
Yeah. And I've got some drops that explain all of that. But obviously, you know, Musk for a while played a baddie, or he actually pointed out
Musk was a baddie.
Yeah,
this is what I want to explain. He was a baddie. Yeah. Then he was recruited by Q, I believe, and I think he's almost part of Q now in a way. Then he became a goodie, and now he's wearing the black hat and he's become a baddie again. But obviously, we know that this was a staged marker. Actually, if you get the next picture.
Dark MAGA, I seem to remember him
calling Dark MAGA. But it's a black hat, right? And apparently the feud was because his own Doge mission found that NASA was putting money into SpaceX. So you got SpaceX there and you got NASA. And then if you scroll down, it's left eye marker. Now, obviously, it's his right eye, but I guess as the viewer is looking at it, it's his left eye. And a marker is when there's a change of attack, right? You know, where the a mission has been completed and they're going to go off to address another one. And if you look at the next picture, please, Simon. There's another reference to Musk here where somebody's asked about preparing for some kind of a shutdown. And then it says, no reports of a power grid attacks. I guess it's also referring to internet, should be disregarded. While attacks do occur, we are safeguarded by a black eye, Musk and maybe Starlink. Point I'm making is Musk was a bad guy, then he was a good guy, then he was a bad guy, then he was a good guy. So you can have double agents, triple agents, and what have you. So what I was thinking is, you know, just your gut feeling. Just stick your thumb up if he's a good guy. Put your thumb down if he's a bad guy.
Okay, let me just say very quickly: was Musk a good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy, or was he a bad guy? And he got either taken over by the white hats.
I said bad guy, good guy.
Yeah, or replaced by the white hats. And he plays roles. Obviously, when he said Trump's in the Epstein files, you know, it was perfect because it got all the left, all the TDSs to demand the files that they said didn't exist in the previous 10 years. You know, it's just
beautiful.
Yeah.
And they all fall for it, don't they? They fall for every single one.
These people are stupid. How often has Trump said these people are stupid?
They are stupid.
How often have we seen Elon Musk in a mask? In Qatar in the World Cup soccer, we saw Elon in a mask.
I don't believe that, but you know, this is the thing. We all have our own opinions on whether what we see. I think it was just a tight necklace, but yeah, this is why I wanted to play this game because
the Oval Office as well, when he had his son on his shoulders and he's pulling his mask.
Yeah,
this is definitely an actor. I mean, if you look at the IMDb, it's the Internet Movie Database. You'll see these characters all mentioned: Elon Musk, Pam Bondi, even the King and the Queen of Holland are mentioned in the IMDb.
Yeah. Central casting.
Well, how many times has Trump said central casting?
Exactly. We're watching a movie.
We are part of a movie.
Yeah. It's safe. It's all done. You know.
I promise on Will. No mask on there.
Anyway, let's just do it. What do people think? Mike Pence. Go on, thumb up or down. Just go for it. Up or down. Right. Okay. It's just out of interest. I think they couldn't have done the 4-year deal, obviously, without him signing it off.
And then you've got Christopher Miller.
You know what it is, Charles? You know what it is? I mean, you're asking, is it a good or a bad guy? But they're all playing their part in this global or worldwide worldwide theatre. So if they're a good guy or a bad guy in the script, they're playing the part. So it's like one big machine.
Yeah.
So
But I do, there's definitely deep state players out there who are deep state players, and they'll go to Gitmo. Ooh, I don't know if they have. This is the thing that's interesting.
Most of them have been taken out, but they're playing the part. I mean, the villain in the movie is the villain, but outside the movie, they're just normal people.
I think there's a role. We're going through the pain and leverage phase as well. So a lot of these people are going through that pain, and I don't believe everyone's been taken out. I don't believe everyone's in.
No, I don't. But you take out key characters, don't you? I mean, look, after Joe Biden's inauguration, we saw the video of Nancy Pelosi being, you come over here, back to the Secret Service.
We've got her laptop to come out as well, remember? They took that. All right, anyway, I just find it interesting. Nigel Farage, go on.
Gitmo was also, it was expanded, Gitmo. For multiple reasons.
Yeah, there's a fantastic. Well, I've got a chapter in my book. It's called The Pen, and it ultimately gets into. There's a whole bunch of Q drops.
Yeah,
that the pen is relevant, but then it goes into Catherine Herridge and Catherine Herridge's report on Gitmo, and I mean, it's been fully expanded to accommodate 33,000 people and judges and all of the legal teams.
Yeah, and it's not just Gitmo here. You've got Greenland, you've got the Azores, you've got Diego Garcia, you've got all these military bases all over the world that Trump is going to get rid of them all,
And of course, and you've got potential prison barges that look like hospital ships.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I think they're just
and all the FEMA camps that they built for us.
So there's enough place to get them locked up for the tribunals and stuff. Yeah.
How about Lindsey Graham? 3, 2, 1, thumbs.
Difficult one. I
don't like the fella, but I'm
I don't.
To go like that again.
Yeah, because he's Jag, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Jag. He's golf with Trump.
And he's Iron Eagle.
It's difficult. I mean, it's a difficult game to play, Charles. If I'm very honest,
you need to just go for it. I just want a sort of gut feeling. That's all.
All right.
If you ask me, are these the villains in this whole play, or are the good guys? It's easier, but it's
Alex Jones.
Oh, I'm going there with Alex. Can I do that?
No, you can't.
You should ask yourself: is this the real Alex Jones that we see now? He's a totally different character. Totally different.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones we see now. I put David Icke and Alex Jones in the same camp.
Yeah,
I think those guys have worked for 30 years to attract those who are sort of suspicious that something's going on, and the conspiracy theorists got them all to the point where the cavalry arrives, and then they tell us all that the cavalry is all part of the big baddie. Deep state.
I stopped listening to Ike when he was doing an interview with Nino 4 or 5 years ago, and I was in the chat asking about Trump, asking about Q, and he came on and he started into this weave and waffle, and he swerved the question, and he just will not do it. He will not get behind the Trump. But maybe David Icke is playing a part because of that. You cannot just get everyone to Trump. You cannot get everyone to say Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage had a lot of haters. Maybe so the White Hats, Nigel Farage was working with all the White Hats, so we've got to pull you out. We now put Rupert in and all that. See if we can take everyone from Farage and everyone to come into and to gain this.
Yeah. And you've got infiltrators who've been who've infiltrated for decades. But I think if you look at on X, for example, the Ikes, the son, what's his name, Gareth. I mean, they're just completely and utterly obsessed with Trump.
Yeah,
they don't talk about anything else. It's just laughable. Yeah.
I've honed my discernment, and I don't listen to people like that.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
She's absolutely wider.
Yeah.
I mean,
there
these people are playing their part.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just mentioned David Icke, I don't like talking about people or judging people, but David Icke and Alex Jones have done their part in awakening a great deal of the humanity.
Yeah. 100%. I owe the majority of my early awakening to those two men.
Yeah. But maybe it would have come out anyway, with the Q stuff. With a Marxist tactic is to, confuse a whole lot of truth with a few untruths to discredit the whole, And I think
I spoke about David Icke in depth, right, with Elisa and other people. But even though he goes against Trump and he goes against Q, he's still his main focus is the people have got to get off their asses and get involved, which we all believe. This is General Flynn saying local action equals national impact, and this is we the people in mass non-compliance. So that message he's putting out, whether he hates Trump and Q or not, is the right message.
Yeah, whether we'll get to that point. I mean, the deep state have been in charge for 800 years, and I don't think there's ever been a sort of ground uprising that's been successful. We can't do it alone. Even though people say, "Oh, you're just waiting to be saved," I think, we do need the military, the good guys, the military to do their stuff to allow it to happen. And I am waiting to be liberated. I will say that. But I think that'll do for today. Don't know if you enjoyed it. I did.
No, I really enjoyed that. I thought the intro was magic. Well done for Simon behind the scenes. It's nice to come in here and not have to do all that sort of production myself. My lovely podcasting partners in the chat, Elisa. There's loads of people.
Say hi to her. Say hi to her. I enjoyed the.
Thank you for everyone coming over. But this has been great. Lovely to meet Stephen this morning, the Maestro.
Yeah, well, and thanks for all your work as well earlier on today, hooking us all up, because that was a bit of a bloody nightmare. But I think we'll call ourselves Join the Queue. But I think the Doombusters was pretty good as well. Maybe the Doombusters show or whatever. And if people liked it, maybe we'll do it again. Maybe every other week or so. I mean, there's loads of stuff that I was going to go through, but as with every show like this, it's too big, it's too wide, it's too complex. You can go off at so many tangents all the time.
But that's good. That gives us loads to talk about, and keeping it an hour and a half is nice. And you better do it every 2 weeks, because I've done all the thumbnails for the next 5 shows.
Good. Well, I'm up for it. Is that the 30th then?
Yeah, I think so.
You available, Steve?
All good for me.
Good man. Right. Well, we never really spoke about how this show ends, so I'm going to say thank you again, and thanks for everyone who watched, and we'll see you maybe in a couple of weeks. Well, definitely in a couple of weeks on the 30th. And hopefully all your information is down there somewhere where people can contact you and see all your material. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take
care.
We go one, we go all. Yeah, we do.
Bye-bye.